announce a number of different ways that you can do that, collaborations, peer leaders, trainings, locations that you can really enjoy all of these lessons. So I know the first thing people tend to ask is, what's the commitment? How long does it take? How do I get my lessons? How do I finish? How do I graduate? How do I do the thing, right? And the answer is simple in that everything that you need upon registration, you'll have online and included in your initial base tuition. So know that that's what that is. If you go from that place to wanting to maybe take place in some field trips, some of our partnering yoga studios that are offering yoga classes and workshops, I've collaborated with those folks to ensure that those items are on our syllabus. And so therefore, it's a really wonderful way for you to earn hours, grow your network, consider what kind of venue you might want to teach yoga at and what yoga means to you, right? And by being exposed to these different venues. Right now, we have a number of different venues that we're offering our programming at in partnership and collaboration with folks. And I got to say, I love them all. I love them all for different reasons and different ways. We being Edge Yoga School Tribe, and everybody who's ever been involved in creating these programs up to today has offered all sorts of workshops, and many of those are published to our online course, so you can take advantage of that. If you're looking for a little bit more community, camaraderie, support, which is fun, you can get those same lessons in person instead or in addition to. So this program with Edge is really all about obtaining mastery over these key concepts, which is known as yoga. And yoga, there are 8 limbs of yoga, and each limb means something a little different to each person, and maybe even to each person in the stage of life that they might be in. And I know that what yoga meant to me at the onset of over 16 years ago, I've been doing this, is much different than what yoga means to me now. Just to speak personally about how I find yoga in my day, it's by taking a centering breath in a moment where perhaps otherwise I might be inclined to react, or react in a state of frustration, which, if you know anything about my past, actually, I studied 2 year seminary in Buddhism, and I walked into it with two intentions that I had set. One being to talk less, right? That I don't have all of the answers. I'm not Google, and I'm more likely to share knowledge and share yoga by collaborating with other people and hearing different viewpoints on what some of these key ideas that we'll go over today in this lesson really mean. So, with that being said, you might hear one lesson from one person about what, say, pratyahara might be, and something completely different, an opposing idea at another event or workshop that you go to or location that you go to, still all through Edge, and that's to be celebrated, because I'm not here to tell you what pratyahara is. I'm here to share with you what it can be, and more importantly, what it is to you in a way that you can apply to your daily life. So that's really what I'm going for, and that's really what the spirit of these yoga teacher trainings are. They are not a color-coded Excel spreadsheet with a list of things to check off, and upon checking, then we graduate. It truly is a mentorship where I walk alongside you and ensure that you're getting the lessons that you need. There is a syllabus. There's so much infrastructure in this program, although it's subtle, intentionally so, because I've been working at this for many, many, many moons, and I want it to be an enjoyable experience for the students rather than something to knock out and just do. So some key things, and I'll refer to our Eventbrite page here. You can get to our events by going to edyogaschool.com. If you saw the copy in the email, the dot is in quote in quotes or in parentheses, rather than spelling it out. And so there's your first tip for you. If you're emailing out to folks, sometimes folks are apprehensive about clicking links, and also sometimes it can delay your email campaign. And sometimes that happens too. So if that happened and you're watching the replay on this, I don't want you to worry about it at all. Just head to edyogaschool.com and send me a chat. Say I watched the replay. I got the information. Next step, how to join and how to be part of our tribe. And I hold space for you to do that. So some key things, just going over what yoga teacher training can be and what it means. Right now we're on a webinar. If you're on our Eventbrite page and you've gotten there by going to edyogaschool.com, field trips or labs, then you'll see that we have a number of different webinars. And we offer these webinars in the afternoon, in the evening, in the weekend. We record part of them, but then we shut that recording off so there can be an interactive layer. I offer so many webinars in an effort to keep the student-teacher ratio low. And I am excited that I'll have a number of guests join in and Edge alum join in and peer leaders join in to share their truth and maybe have a interactive talk show kind of format in the upcoming year. I'm hopeful, and that's where I'd like to drive the bus, although sometimes the bus drives itself, right? We hear that's coming in the days ahead. So if yoga to you is less about headstands and movement and postures and warrior ones and warrior twos, and maybe it's more in embracing a meditation in life. We have a number of meditation workshops. We do them all sorts of places to include the Enclave co-working spaces, a number of different towns that we offer this at. And essentially what you learn to do is how to craft a meditation so that you can go out into the world, maybe with one of our partnering studios or locations or venues, or at the forest preserves, if that's what you like, maybe here at the farmhouse where I'm recording this today, and offer your meditation workshop to your students. And so the other thing that we do at the co-working space somewhat frequently is lab, and that's a time for us to roll up our sleeves, pull out our notebooks, our workbooks, our pens. You can leave your yoga mat at home. There's no need for it. And we do have some media that we share in a whiteboard where we break down and share what yoga is and how it can be shared. And what you write down is your truth. It's not a copy paste of my truth. And that's something that you'll hear me saying again and again, because I really enhance that. Other folks find that they have a really hard time with meditation, and maybe they really have a strong personal practice, and that perhaps it's very athletic or maybe frequent, daily or whatever it might be, but perhaps they have a harder time with the meditation piece. And so therefore, one thing that I've come to love over the past few years is finding yoga through the arts. So when you're on our page, our Eventbrite page, you'll see all sorts of different activities where you can earn hours in the yoga teacher training programs, whether it be the 200, the 300, or the 85-hour prenatal program, kids yoga coming soon, 2025. So that's happening. But finding that through the arts, and I can tell you over the years, I've been doing this over 15 years, 16 years almost. And in that time, I've had more people tell me they struggle with meditation more than they do maybe with asana or asana. And so therefore, finding different venues and ways that you can find that meditation place, which really can simply be described as a place where you can maybe not still the mind, but perhaps wrangle and tame the monkeys of the mind, these ongoing thoughts that we have. And, I know whether it's a watercolor workshop where you can just listen to relaxing music or no sounds at all and just invite a paintbrush to your paper and see what comes of it, and we learn the lessons of life in there, and we learn the lessons through life in yoga. And the idea is that it is ever evolving, and we not become attached to our truths this year, last year, other teachings, future teachings, right? Refine and grow as you go. Another opportunity for meditation is our sound baths, and they're beautiful. We have a number of different gorgeous locations that we offer at that. We do that at art leagues. We do that at beautiful studios. We do that many at the Salt Cave. It's so many different places where you can catch those sound meditations. And the good news is these events are open to friends and family. So if you want to share your experience with friends and family, really by all means, this meditation is is a key component of moving towards samadhi. And in the 8 limbs of yoga, meditation moves us into a place that we can more readily feel connected and enjoy or bliss, which is the 8th limb of yoga, which is samadhi. So kind of moving on to my little list that I have here in front of me, which you could find, I'll share the link for you in the chat. Moving on to vinyasa flow yoga. So a key component this time of year that I do, this time of year being winter at the time of this recording. I know I try to keep things evergreen, but the idea is really to encourage folks, maybe less diets and fads, and the gym fills up from January to March. And then the gym dies down come April, and this is the routine, and this is what we know. And so instead, what I really like to see is how we can go about just living a life of movement that we embrace, that we enjoy, and that feels good. Some of our events are sold out, so you might find that. Just check back later, or send us a chat at yogaschool.com and let us know, hey, I've had an eye on this program or that program, and I would love to see it. Are you going to have it again? Sometimes those chats equate to registration and more workshops for you. So that's what we're trying to do. We also partner with a number of different retail facilities, maybe shops, venues, restaurants that want to offer mindfulness programs, maybe not only to their customers or their clients, but maybe also to their staff. And that's a wonderful, wonderful way to share yoga. I did have the opportunity many, many years ago to offer a corporate yoga session, which was quite lovely. They brought me in, they moved the tables out of the way, and we did yoga. Looking back with a little bit more experience that I have now, I think chair yoga would have worked so much better in that forum. And by and large, I would say it's probably best to stick with English in this setting and maybe leave the spirituality component out of a corporate setting. So essentially, one thing we'll do in 5 hours of the business of yoga is on the syllabus is making sure that you understand that you're teaching to your audience, and that if that's not your jam, then let someone else teach that, pass it on and tell people about other services that might more readily serve them perhaps than you. Because I'm not everybody's jam. I tried to be for quite some time, and I can tell you that was a disaster, and it's truly really no fun at all. So I really want to make sure that programming is something that's enjoyable, that's tailored to you. Think refinement, think seeing a tailor, rather than ordering online and seeing what shows up. Not to say I haven't gotten some goodies online. I have and I do. But whenever possible, I tend to try and go local for the things that I need. Some other opportunities where we can experience meditation is through Create a Mandala. So I partnered with a number of different art leagues and art galleries where we're offering these kind of programs and classes so that you can maybe just take colored pencil to paper while we chat about the 8 limbs of yoga and what they mean to you and what they can mean to you. And these tend to be at a little bit more of affordable price point. So keep your eye open for classes being offered at your at your local art league, and go see them for sure. Some other things that we do is day retreats, partial day retreats, and intensives and immersions experience. You might see some at the Salt Cave, for example, where perhaps we offer a guided meditation or a yoga nidra, which is basically a script of relaxation of the body from head to toe. So if you're fortunate to have all of those digits and all of those toes from head to toe, feeling gratitude in your heart for that, and just going over, like feeling the sensation in your pinky toe. So this is one way that we can, through the limb of Dharana in the 8 limbs of yoga, practice on concentration. And concentration prepares us for meditation. And meditation prepares us for samadhi or bliss and joy. And so depending on your belief systems, I'm not here to to tell you what that might be, depending on your belief systems, I would like you to refine and fine tune and define what samadhi is and isn't for you. One thing that we definitely get into the thick of is yoga anatomy. And what's fun to know that maybe not everybody knows is Yoga Alliance defines chakras as anatomy. So it's not only about hamstrings being lengthened when the knee isn't bent versus isn't when the knee is bent, but it's also your subtle body. So we'll go over into a series of workshops in different venues, depending on where your comfort level lies, where you want to be with this. If you're not interested in chakras and you're more interested in, conventional physical body primary movers, that's okay. I definitely invite you though to check out our different venues and events and that of peer leaders and Edulum that they're offering to see what all it can be. Okay, what else? So we have coming up some specialty programs, including our prenatal workshop. This is a highly underserved population. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, prenatal yoga, I don't want to be responsible for that, there is a piece of it on every one of our programs on our syllabus to ensure that if you have a student walk in the door and share their new news with you, oftentimes the yoga teacher is amongst the first to find out the news, actually, that you have some basic understanding of what to do, what not to do. Tip, we don't want somebody who is expecting laying on their back for several minutes in a class. And it has to do with blood flow to the baby, and it's kind of a big deal. So most folks might suggest not knowing, oh, hey, just lay down if you want to relax through class. And on a hard floor, it actually could be detrimental to the pregnancy. So there's some key things that we make sure you teach or we learn to teach no matter what program you might be enrolled in. We will touch on that. If you want to specialize in that, I so recommend that you do. This is wonderful for not only a studio setting, but maybe a chair yoga at the library setting or in-home private sessions, partnering with different people such as doulas that are in the industry and connecting as a tribe in a network event versus doing everything on your own. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've done it all these different ways, the latter being most fun when I'm in collaboration with many people. Some other things that you're going to see is photography classes for yoga teachers. We do at Edge train people to have these new skills and crafts, and they go out into the world and perhaps they take photographs of other things. I do put my 2 bits in each year to help the rescue dogs and do a couple dog events because that's where my heart is. Any webinar I offer you has the risk of a puppy in the background barking, and so I'm going to go with a non-attachment to perfect quiet and allow that to be. Some other things that people really don't know about the history of yoga is the connection between dance and yoga. And this goes way back, way, way, way back. And as you look back into the history of yoga and some of our lessons about that, there's some reasons for the parting of the ways between dance and yoga that's recently resurfaced in the last, I'd say, few years, where people want to feel their body move in presence. And that is yoga, but maybe they don't want to be on a mat on a floor doing a posture, and that's okay. That's to be celebrated, and we celebrate that. So watch for our different dance opportunities for you to learn more about that at fun locations and such. Coming into the new year, we do have a new year, same you, more joy. That's a mouthful. New year, same you, more joy. What's that mean? We're not looking to overhaul you. Please don't look to overhaul yourself. But how can you move yourself closer to joy? The little bit of self-care. One tool we'll use to get towards that is our Ayurveda series. And if you're not familiar with Ayurveda, it is the sister science to yoga. And again, very, very, very old. I'm certainly not presenting anything new here, but I think that as we understand that, is as sexy as it might sound, we're really a bag of of chemical reactions, so the different foodstuffs that we interact with, that we introduce into our body, the movement that we choose to take or don't take, the media that we consume, the constitution or dosha or personality traits that you were born with are unlikely to completely change because you have found yoga, but rather how do we embrace and refine maybe the thoughts we think, and in an effort to have thought, word, and deed align into something that brings you closer to joy. And that's again that eighth limb of yoga, samadhi, showing up yet again. You have a few different ways that you can take this training. You can take it with the online special that we have going on. Click the link below to find out more about that. You can also choose to take the base subscription if you plan on attending more of the field trips, special events. You want a little bit more of a personalized experience, closer mentorship with me directly and my peer leaders as well, and really finding how you want to go about doing this. I have other people that say this year I'm just going all in, and they might register for the health coach program, and that's quite elaborate. It will include the 200-hour, the 300-hour, any specialty course that you might find at ajogaschool.com. We have several. And also our group fitness course to make sure that you have the nuts and the bolts when it comes to teaching groups and heart rates and how to respond in an emergency if someone passes out in your class, which is part of life. I saved somebody by taking that CPR. So if you haven't had your CPR recently upgraded, I will tell you that a person such as myself, I wouldn't normally say that I feel like I have a really strong rote memory. I do better with broad stroke ideas. For these reasons, I tend to partner with people who are strong in that department. But I am not Google. And I will say though, because I had taken CPR year after year after year after year, in that moment when I walked into the dining room, I was able to spring into action, and luckily they're still around. So who knew? Anyway, the point is, the more you come and you learn and you expose yourself, and then you practice, teach, and then you teach it back and you refine your knowledge, the more you'll start to see that confidence grows in how you can offer a yoga class that's right for you to offer. And we do also do some fun events, including labs where you have opportunities to practice, teach each other, and specialty workshops, such as a Her Time workshop that we're running, and really finding opportunities for you to find your tribe and enjoy yourself in this process over the course of a year. If you want to knock it out super fast, we have a 45-day intensive. It's probably not what I would recommend, but for some folks, they just want to finish it up and they learn better in immersion experience. And so there's also an opportunity for you to do that too. So really, it's up to you to decide what is yoga, where you want to take it, who you might want to learn from, and how I could hold space from you. So I'm so excited about our upcoming year. And again, questions at yogaschool.com. Head over to the chat, send me a chat. You'll get me, not a bot. I mean, I think it has like some automated replies, but get me and I'll see it. And I'll usually get back to you, if not within the hour, usually the day, unless maybe I'm taking a self-care day. I'll get back to you the following day. So thank you so much for being part of this webinar. I will take a moment to shut off this recording so that there's any Q&As, and I can share the links of the screen that I've been looking at as I've been sharing this with you. And hopefully we can move into this next year with love and light and support for one another in Sangha. And Sangha is community. So with that being said, namaste.